Hey, it's Rachel from Hope Corner Farm, and today we're going to learn how to make this twist headband. This twist headband is going to be sized for an adult, and if you're interested in making it in different sizes, you can check out the description below where I've included a link to a PDF for multiple sizings for this headband. By day, I'm a home ec teacher who teaches hundreds of students how to crochet, cook, sew, and quilt. And we're going to need to gather a few things before we get started with this twist headband. First off, you're going to need a medium weight yarn. Any color works. You're going to need an eye hook, which is 5.5 millimeters. You're going to need a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle. So let's get crocheting. To begin this headband, we need to foundation single crochet 72 times. So I do this by placing a slip knot on my hook. I also leave a little bit longer of a tail past the knot because I'm going to use this for sewing my headband together when we're all done at the end. So to foundation single crochet, we begin by chaining 2. So there's 1, 2. Now I take my hook and I go back into this chain that is closest to the knot. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull through that chain stitch. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 1 loop, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And that completes 1 foundation single crochet. Now for the next one, I go right here and I pick up 2 legs from that foundation single crochet stitch. I'm going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now if you need to see this in slower, more detailed movements, I'm going to include a link for how to foundation single crochet in the description below, and you can check out that video if you need more detailed instructions on this. So again, I'm going to continue foundation single crocheting 72 times to begin this headband. Alright, so we are ready to begin row 1. So you can see I've got my 72 foundation single crochets completed here. If you're not comfortable doing a foundation single crochet, you could chain 73 and then put a row of single crochets into that chain to start. But I really do prefer the look of the foundation single crochet. So to begin row 1, we need to start by chaining 1. So I'll bring this closer, chain 1. And then we're going to turn. Now with the foundation single crochet, it really is a very subtle movement to turn. Now in this very first spot right here, I am going to place 1 double crochet. So I need to yarn over. I'm going right here. I'm going to place a double crochet. Then in the very next stitch right here, I am going to place a slip stitch. In the next one, a double crochet. And in the following stitch, a slip stitch. And I'm going to keep repeating this double crochet in 1 stitch and slip stitch, in the next all the way across. So again, it's a pattern of a double crochet followed by a slip stitch all the way across. So we are to the last set of double crochet slip stitch here for row 1. So we're going to place a double crochet here and then a slip stitch here. And that completes row 1. To begin row 2, we're going to start by chaining 1 and then turning. Now for row 2, we simply put 1 half double crochet in each stitch across this headband. Now this very first one, it might feel a little tighter because it was a slip stitch, so we're going right here in this spot. We're going to place our half double crochet. The tops of the double crochets from the previous round are a little bit easier to see, whereas the slip stitches are a little bit harder, so you're going to have to be careful and look for those. But again, you're going to place 1 half double crochet in each stitch across for a total of 72 half double crochets. So I have a few stitches left to place here in row 2. As a side note, if you need to see the half double crochet in slower motion, I'm going to include a link to a video in the description below so you can check out how to complete a half double crochet. So there is a completed row 2, a whole row of half double crochets. To begin row 3, we begin by chaining 1 and then turning. Now row 3 is a repeat of row 1. So we're going to start off by double crocheting in this very first stitch right here, followed by a slip stitch into the next stitch, then a repeat of a double crochet and a slip stitch. So I'm going to continue repeating a double crochet and a slip stitch all the way across this entire headband. So I have one last set of a double crochet and a slip stitch. Oops. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this last slip stitch kind of is slanted, so you need to make sure that you pick up both legs of that last stitch to do your last slip stitch. And that completes row 3. To begin row 4, we begin by chaining 1 and turning. Row 4 is a repeat of row 2, so we're going to place 1 half double crochet in each stitch across for a total of 72 half double crochets across the width of the headband. So we have 2 half double crochets left to place here for row 4. So there's 1 and 2. And that completes row 4. To start row 5, we again chain 1 and turn. Row 5 is a repeat of row 1, so we're going to place 1 double crochet and then 1 slip stitch, and we're going to keep alternating a double crochet and then a slip stitch all the way across this row. So we have 2 stitches left to place here, so 1 double crochet and 1 slip stitch. And that completes row 5. To begin row 6, we begin by chaining 1 and turning. Row 6 is a repeat of all the previous even rows, so we're going to be putting 1 half double crochet in each stitch across for a total of 72 half double crochets across the width of this headband. So we have 3 half double crochets left to place here for row 6. And that's a completed row 6. As we get ready to go on to row 7, hopefully you can see the texture that's starting to develop from our row of double crochet slip stitches. And that's what we're going to do here for row 7. So we're going to, again, chain 1 and turn. And row 7 is like the previous odd numbered rows. We're going to place 1 double crochet and then a slip stitch. And we're going to keep on repeating that pattern of a double crochet and a slip stitch all the way across. So I have 2 stitches left to place here in row 7. So 1 double crochet and 1 slip stitch to complete row 7. To begin row 8, we begin by chaining 1 and turning again. So this is another row of half double crochets in each stitch across this headband for a total of 72 half double crochets. So I have 2 half double crochets left to place here for row 8. So there's 1, and sometimes this very last stitch will look like this, and you just have to make sure to pick up 1 leg and then the back leg as well. And that completes row 8. For row 9, we begin by again chaining 1 and turning. Row 9 is a repeat of the double crochet slip stitch all the way across this row. So we're going to continue alternating double crochets with slip stitches all the way across this row. So I have 1 last set of double crochet and slip stitch left to finish out this row. And there we go. So that completes row 9. To begin row 10, we begin by chaining 1 and turning. Row 10 is again another row of half double crochets in each stitch across this headband for a total of 72 half double crochets. And here we have the last stitch to place for this row. We're going to place it right here. And that completes row 10. To begin row 11, we begin just like all the previous rows. We begin by chaining 1 and turning. And row 11 is another row of double crochet followed by a slip stitch all the way across this row. So we have one set of double crochet and slip stitch left for this row. And that completes row 11. For row 12, we chain 1 and we turn, and row 12 is another row of half double crochets all the way across. So we're going to place 1 half double crochet in each stitch for a total of 72 half double crochets across this row. So we have 2 half double crochets left to place in this row to complete row 12. And that is a completed row 12. Row 13 starts just like every previous row, where we chain 1 and we turn. Row 13, because it's an odd numbered row, will be a repeat of a double crochet and then a slip stitch all the way across this row. We have one set of double crochet and then slip stitch left to complete row 13. To begin row 14, we again chain 1 and turn. And row 14 is a row where we place 1 half double crochet in each stitch across for a total of 72 half double crochets. So we have 2 half double crochets left to place here for row 14. So there's 1 and there's 2, and that completes row 14. Row 15 starts the same. We chain 1 and we turn, and because it's an odd row, it's again a repeat of a double crochet in one stitch and then a slip stitch in the next, all the way across the row. We have one last set of double crochet and then a slip stitch to complete row 15. To begin our 16th and final row, we begin by chaining 1 and turning. And this last row, we place 1 half double crochet in each stitch across for a total of 72 half double crochets. We have 2 half double crochets left to place here for this headband. So there's 1 and 2 half double crochets. To finish off this headband, the first thing we need to do is clip the yarn and clip the headband free from my skein of yarn. So I'm going to clip, leaving a little bit longer of a tail because we will use it for sewing my headband together as well. Then I need to take and fasten off my work so that way it doesn't unravel. One thing you may notice is it might seem like your edge is tapering either in or on the other end out. And all I do is I just kind of grab onto the ends that are opposite of each other, so at the top, and I just kind of pull and I get it squared up. And you won't even notice that once you go to sew this together. So if you look at it, this is my headband here. So I've taken, and it was full length here, and I'm going to again fold it in half, good sides together, lining up my short edges, one edge about halfway into the side of the other. So you can kind of see what that looks like here. So again, that looks like lining up halfway. I take this side and I'm going to fold it back. So the good side is basically wrapping around is what you're doing. You're again making sure that good side is on the inside. So I've wrapped it around that way. Now I'm going to take my good side here, hopefully you can see this, my good side here, and wrap it. Then I just do a little adjusting to make sure we're as even as possible. So then you have this nice little sandwich effect here. So hopefully you can see that. So if you look at it from the side, it kind of looks like this shape here. Now what I need to do is I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to grab my tapestry needle, and one of my yarn ends I'm going to thread through that tapestry needle because we need to sew this headband together. So again, I'm just going to, before I start sewing, I'm going to make sure I have everything as lined up as neat as possible here. I'm going to take my needle, I'm going to come out to the edge, and I'm just going to start sewing across. So So I'm going to work my needle through here. And then I'm basically going to sew across with this needle. I'm going to start here. Now when I'm going through, I really want to make sure that I catch all 4 of those pieces of the headband there. And I'm going to pull tight. Then I'm going to take another stitch, again catching all 4, so you can see how far down I am sewing. Now when I get to this end, what I like to do is I tie these 2 yarn ends together just for some added security. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the end that I still have attached to my needle and I'm going to weave it in. And then I'm going to clip that yarn off of the headband. Now I take this other end and same thing, I'm going to thread it onto my needle. I'm going to do a slightly different stitch across my headband with this one, so I flip it over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do an overcast kind of whip stitch across the top here with this one. So this stitch is a little bit different in that my yarn is actually going to go over top of this seam here. So now that I'm all the way to this end, I'm going to again weave in these ends. Clip my yarn away. Now this is what it looks like after it's been sewn together. Again, this is the underside, the wrong side, I guess, of our headband. Now we need to turn it right side out. So we do this by simply starting to turn and flip it so that good side is on the outside. Now it might be a little awkward here at first at the twist and you might need to just kind of pull and adjust to get that to lay nice like you would like it to. So just mess around with it a little bit. And there's your twist headband. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to get notifications for when I post new videos. I hope you have a blessed day.